Good evening, Dhamma friends, and I wish you a very good morning for those friends who joined from Sri Lanka and also from that part of the world that many people started the days, Sunday. It would be evening for you with the last activities of the day, so that this sutta discussion is a reminder of the noble Dhamma for you to end the day. And those who join with us from Sri Lanka and elsewhere where they started the day, this would be a kind reminder of the noble Dhamma for you to regulate your daily activities with the Dhamma. With such blessings in mind, I just want to welcome everyone once again. And I wish you a very clear mind to understand the Dhamma more than we discussed here in the Sutta study class, and sharp your abilities on Sila, Samadhi, and Panya for you to go to Nirvana very soon. With that thought in mind, let me begin the Sutta studies by paying our homage to the Supreme Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So in today's Sutta study class, we pay attention to one of the very important aspects of the Dhamma, that is Yonisomanasikara. As you got the information in the email about further reading, I think you understood how trivial and important this Yonisomanasikara into our practice, so that we can extend our understanding on the topic further by pointing out different aspects of Yonisomanasikara. Friends, it is a vast subject, though it is a fundamental teaching of the Buddha that one should apply at the very beginning of the training. Therefore, there are many suttas that talks about Yonisomanasikara, and in different places of Dhamma we need it, but simply we understand that Yonisomanasikara in Theravada Buddhism is the very key important for us to go into different levels of understanding peaceful states, namely called Nirvana. Before I go to details of the very Dhamma fact we discussed today, I just want to define it based on some scholarly point of view as well as Sutta implication. Yonisomanasikara, you can find two important words here combined together, but when it sounds, it's like two words. But yeah, of course, we can write it as two words also, but mostly we see it as one word when you look at the Pali version of the Sutta. However, it means Manasikara. It is one of the fundamental aspects of our mind. If you look at the Nama Dharma in the five, in the Nama and Rupa, you see Manasikara is one of the 5 components of mind. Manasikara, it's thinking. It's the ability of mind creating, and ideas and pondering on something. That's called Manasikara. So when we add Yoniso, Yoni means the origin of something or the beginning of something. With Yoniso, we mean that wisely thinking or directing our mind to something which begins. In other words, Yonisomanasikara is the ability to pay attention to mental and physical phenomena when they rightly starts. So that's what the initial meaning. But when it comes to translation, either in Sinhala or English or any other language, we may find different translation. I saw Bhikkhu Bodhi, Bhikkhu Tanisaro, Bhikkhu Sujato, I.B. Owner, and many other scholars translated this word as wise attention, wise reflection, and also appropriate attention, rational thinking, something like that are always used for Yoniso Manasikara. In Sinhala, it's called Nuaning Sitima. It's mean wise thinking, wise attention. However, there are different opinions that some translation now weak to get the full meaning of Yoniso Manasikara. Therefore, in English, we use the very Pali word Yoniso Manasikara because it's rich with the authentic word Yoniso Manasikara. When we talk about Yoniso Manasikara, we of course cannot forget Ayoniso Manasikara too, the total opposite of Yoniso Manasikara. What does that mean? Being, someone in a positions to get things with unwise, ignorance, or understanding things unwisely, being unable to understand the fundamental aspect of something that we are thinking of, that we are dealing with, is called Ayoniso Manasikara. Basically, Ayoniso Manasikara or Yoniso Manasikara basically are talked in many discourses. If you look at Sanguttara Nikaya, you can find many discourses, and in Anguttara Nikaya, even Majjhima Nikaya and Digha Nikaya, you can find Yoniso Manasikara is being highly emphasized by the Buddha as as the first door to the path of enlightenment. Um, uh, One of the small discourses in Anguttara Nikaya is called Gosa Sutta. There, the Buddha talks about two important elements for anyone to enter into the noble Dhamma and discipline, that is Paraso Gosapacha and Yoniso Manasikara. You should listen to the Dhamma from the Buddha or somebody who have tasted it, somebody who has already absorbed it. And as soon as you heard about Dhamma, heard about what the other people say, you have to apply, you have to have this Yoniso Manasikara. Where combining these two, marks the starting of the noble training in the Dhamma. So you can see this in Majjhima Nikaya too. Let me say few locations where Yoniso Manasikara is highly emphasized. In Majjhima Nikaya, you can find Mara Tajjaniya Sutta. There, Venerable Moggallana said, Pacchatang Yoniso Manasikati. So he is always saying there that using wisdom, using wise, direct, wise, rational attention to understand things. And then, as you know, Majjhima Nikaya number 2, Sabbasa Sutta is a wonderful discourse to understand Yoniso Manasikara, which we are going to read a little bit where Yoniso Manasikara is explained. So, particularly, you put your right attention into it, and then realize what it is. So, there are many places in Majjhima Nikaya where Yoniso Manasikara, the very word is used. I'm not going to, make your mind full of those references because That would be one reason why we discuss, but the most important thing is to practice Yonisomanasikara as a result of this discussion, so that I just want to pay attention to some discourses I send you through emails. Sabbasa Sutta. Yonisomanasikara is clearly defined in Sabbasa Sutta. So Buddha started with this statement that abandoning taints, asava, whether it is kamas, bhavas, or dittas, or ajas, or whatever asava is, abandoning all these asavas or defiled state or influxes could happen when only one has this particular quality, that is Yonisomanasikara. If you look at the Ratapala Thera's story and Venerable Sariputta and all the great disciples, they heard about the dukkha, Arya Satya and other things from the Buddha or their respective teachers, and they started putting this Yonisomanasikara into application. It means that this does not happen just because somebody else is so and so high regards and so on. You have to have such skills to have Yonisomanasikara. If you look at the individuals like the Buddha, Pacceka Buddha, they are very distinct because there is no one for them to teach some Dhamma. Therefore, their Yonisomanasikara is self-developed. But rest of the enlightened beings, starting from the Arahants and all 8 types of disciples, they got into Yonisomanasikara with the support of somebody else. We quote in the discussion the Sutta, Silavanta Sutta of the Samyutta Nikaya, where Venerable Sariputta is clearly saying that everybody needs Yonisomanasikara to get into enlightened state. So that clearly shows us Yonisomanasikara is key for each and every individuals who attain to enlightenment in the past. And even if we want to attain enlightenment, this is the very quality we always keep in mind to investigate. This is the seed of right understanding, what we call samadhi in the Noble Eightfold Path. And Sati Sampajanya, Sati and Samadhi are linked to this particular Dhamma aspect. And Dhammavichaya and also Panya Indriya is coming from this very seed, Yonisomanasikara, of the Noble One's mind. So that this is a tiny quality with regard to other big Dhamma elements, but we know the fact that big things never come into existence if there are no seed of them, seed of those big achievements, seed of those big Dhamma elements. So Yonisomanasikara simply is such so that we have to understand an entirety of it. Let me read the part that Sabbasa Sutta shows about Yonisomanasikara. Having said that, abandoning taints could happen only when somebody knows and sees of the truth. The Buddha clearly says right after that, what are the ideas unfit for attention. So the one who can destroy taints should have right attention. When one pay attention, the wise attention to right thing, there you have the chance of understanding the taints, the root of taints, and also the function of the taints. And the idea of destroying taints could happen as a result of this wise attention. This is how the Buddha started explaining that wise attention here. The uninstructed ignoble person has no regards for anything good like Dharma or the Buddha or Sangha or training principles, so that he does not know how to, he does not know how to pay attention to right things, so that the increase of all kinds of things could happen to him, because he's um, uninstructed person, which means asutva putujjano, the one who does not know anything about. So then, therefore, his mind is dealing with all kinds of unwholesomeness. The very idea we have here is that Yonisomanasikara is being developed because this person who doesn't know about anything good only develops Yonisomanasikara so that all kinds of things could arise in his mind. However, the one who knows about the Dharma, Buddha, and the Sangha and other important elements of the Dhamma know where to pay attention, what to pay attention. So his attention is wise, intelligent, rational, so that he is going to get the maximum out of it. Namely, he can put strong measures into applications to weaken the taints, so that the enlightenment can happen. Some people say that wise attention is being talked only with the dasava bhikkhave asava pahataba, the first of the seven ways of destroying taints. But if we clearly see the entire discourse Sabha Sutta, we can see that wise attention is required for other six as well, because everyone needs this Dhamma facts to begin the training and also to sustain in the training, according to Silavanta Sutta, so that not only the path of Sotapanna is cleared with this Yonisomanasikara, but it is required for each stages just to understand things. That is what I wanted to quote from Sabbasa Sutta. It is a very long but very important statement about Yonisomanasikara. You may take time to read it. So back to the topic. Yonisomanasikara is likened to the dawn of the sun. In the morning around 4 or 4:30, in the direction east, if you look at the sky, there you see some lights between those clouds, and you can see that that signs of rising of sun or rising of the sun. Likewise, the Yoniso Manasikara and also Kalyanamitta Sampatti, they are the signs of rising of the Noble Eightfold Path for a person. Let me tell you that again. The simile is given the sun rising. Before sun rising, we have the dawn, what we call in Pali, it's Arunodaya. Aruna means the morning, very early morning, and Udaya means rising. So before the sun is visible for us, we have the light of the sun well before 1 hour, 1.5 hours, depending on the area you live. This Arunodaya, this dawn of the sun, is the confirmation that in 1 hour time there is sun rising for us to see. Likewise, the Noble Eightfold Path is appeared in one's mind when only he or she has Yonisomanasikara. So that, friends, Yonisomanasikara is the ability to question, ability to understand through question, through reasoning. We can see this important elements from each disciples. One of my friends questioned whether this quality is not visible prior to the Buddha. it's a hard questions. However, we can give an answer to that. That Yonisomanasikara is always attached to the destruction of craving. In other words, Yonisomanasikara is coming to the subject when only one has to understand the Four Noble Truths as it is. In other words, with Yonisomanasikara, you are looking at the causes and conditions. So by having Yonisomanasikara, you see what are the causes for this and that, how this arises and how this is going to cease and so on. So when you have Yonisomanasikara, as a result of that, you have the understanding of Paticca. So therefore, we cannot see that Yonisomanasikara was found as a mental quality prior to the Buddha. It is the Buddha who had it as the Bodhisattva and use it for enlightenment and delivered it to disciple for their well-being and happiness. So Yonisomanasikara is a pure discovery of the Buddha in my understanding. So, if you read those, let me get Yonisomanasikara Sampada Sutta, Avijja Prahana Sutta. Yonisomanasikara is a conditional state. It does not come to us because of just merits, just because of wish. We can develop it. How do we have it and develop it? First, we need to have Kalyana Mitta quality. If you look at the factors for Sotapanna state, the first thing is having Kalyana Mitta association. When you have good friends who knows and sees the Dhamma, they are telling about the truth of life. They are talking about the truth of everything, so that you have the second quality of Sotapanna, that is listening to right thing from right people, from wholesome people. You listen to wholesome or right things, so that you are going to believe on those wholesome people and what they say. As a result, you investigate nothing but what you have already owned. So Kalyanamitas should talk about, in the name of Dhamma, they should talk about the reality of the body and mind. They would be talking about how to let go of greed, hatred, and ignorance. They would be talking about the importance of ethical principles. They would be talking about how to keep our mind guarded from sensual pleasures and so on. So that what you heard is progressive and positive, so that your mind is getting this very important aspect, Yonisomanasikara, so that you are having Dhammanudhamma Patipatti. When we come to the fourth factor of the Sotapananga, there you have Dhammanudhamma Patipatti. Living according to Dhamma is taking place because of this very fact. We see that many people listen to the Dhamma. We see that many people talk about Dhamma, write about Dhamma, but Dhammanudhamma Patipatti may not be completed just because they listen to. Even the time of the Buddha, there were many people who listened to the Buddha, but they were like empty mind. They didn't have anything stored in their mind in the name of Dhamma. They were practicing what they have been practicing. They didn't even secure their life in human existence or divine existence right after they are dead, because they just listen without wise or rational thinking. So when we come to Dhammanudhamma Patipatti, definitely they should have Yonisomanasikara. Dhammanudhamma Patipatti quality is being planted in us when only Yonisomanasikara is really applied. So in Avijja Bhana Sutta, we see that from Kalyanamitas we have Dhammasavana, therefore we have Shraddha, and with Shraddha Yoniso Manasikara, Sati Sampajanya simultaneously begins, so that we will have other important qualities. And without Yoniso Manasikara, when there is Ayoniso Manasikara, what could happen to us? In Satta Bojjanga, where the Buddha talks about the danger of Yonisomanasikara, he shows that 5 hindrances could arise with Ayoniso In again, when there is Ayoniso there is the unarisen sensual pleasure could arise, and the arisen sensual pleasure could be double, could be increased, because Yonisomanasikara is the main character of your mind. The behavior of your mind is Ayonisomansikara. So when there is Ayonisomansikara, the anger might arise in you. It was not earlier in your mind, but it came to you because of Ayonisomansikara. And the anger that has already arisen would be increased further because of Yonisomanasikara. In such a manner, Buddha talks about the arising of 5 hindrances. As we know, arising of 5 hindrances means arising of ignorance according to Avijja Sutta. So friends, therefore, Yonisomanasikara is really required for each and every individual, no matter which stage in the Dhamma and Vinaya you are. For because we need Yonisomanasikara, otherwise we might be a victim of Mara. You cannot practice Satipatthana. You cannot practice mindfulness. You cannot practice Sammaditi without Yonisomanasikara. According to Arunodaya Sutta, arising the light of the sun well before the dawn is symbolizing, is likened to Yonisomanasikara. Likewise, having Yonisomanasikara is clearing you the path, middle path. So we cannot expect then right understanding, right mindfulness, right effort, any of those cardinal qualities without Yonisomanasikara. So how do we practice Yonisomanasikara? I think Shraddha into a greater extent should be there for one to practice Yonisomanasikara, because you approach to a particular person who knows the Dhamma, or the reading a book on the Dhamma with type of need in your mind, due to suffering you experience. Like last time we discussed Dukkhupanisa Saddha. Due to the utter suffering we experience in life, we need to get out of it. We create an idea that somehow I managed to get out of this, so that you are looking for somebody who knows how to tell us to get out of suffering. So Shraddha is the important quality into a certain extent. I'm not telling that it is full form Shraddha, but a type of belief, type of faith on some on good things, so that you approach. Then you question, you asked, you tell about your suffering, you ask remedies for it, and you are going to believe on what these people say. So that you slowly practice sila, you slowly practice type of principles that you take out of suffering on daily basis, so that you taste, you feel that you are slowly, becoming good and peaceful. So you are advised to investigate further. We can see this from many angles. If you look at the monastic setting, we should have a teacher who could guide us for concentration, to see Sila, Samadhi, and Panya in your experience. There you get the tips of meditation, and they are of course directing us to practice Yonisomanasikara. And if you look at the Karanimetta Sutta background story, they had a lot of problems one after the other when they were trying to solve the problems they experienced. But without the Buddha's support, they could not understand what happened to them. So Buddha asked us to put Yonisomanasikara, understand each other's needs and requirements, and understand the danger of having unwholesome state in mind, so that getting into those important factors is also Yonisomanasikara. So, friends, therefore, Yonisomanasikara is required for bhikkhus to get into right tune of meditation. And even lay people, there is nothing, there is nothing, strange. The same thing could happen. Giving dana and observing sila, helping poor people, and putting your effort into other important aspect of the Dhamma in daily life could happen because of Yonisomanasikara. Because you think, is this giving me an opportunity to cultivate punya or kusala? Is this important for my long-term happiness? What happens if I do this? Do I go to hell? Do I go to unhappy destination? Or do I reborn in happy places? They are all about questioning. They are all about, inquiry. If you look at Prince Siddhartha's life, he had Yonisomanasikara. That's why he saw the problem of princely life, and life of a king is not a solution for happiness. That is a part of Yonisomanasikara. And when he was not finding any solace with self-mortification, he questioned this couldn't be the path for enlightenment, because there is nothing important happen with this self-mortification. So that is wise reasoning. So in order, how do we understand Yonisomanasikara from somebody else's experiences, behaviors? Yeah, the very important thing is whether this behavior for him, for that particular person, or the outsiders create lobha, the greed, or not. Whether this behavior or thinking create dosa or anger or ill will or not. Whether this lead us to ignorance. So these are the three criteria the Buddha talks about in finding right from wrong, wrong from right. In Kalama Sutta we find this criteria. So friends, so that Yonisomanasikara is directing our mind to the right, the whole something. When we talk about the Yonisomanasikara and sati and samadhi, people might be in confusing state because they look like same, sometimes difference. So that I would say here that mindfulness, sati, means maintenance your ability of memory, and also putting your mind in the present moment could be explained as sati or mindfulness. And Yonisomanasikara is likened to keeping our attention to the right mental state and physical and verbal behavior, particularly what is going on in our mind. So as we say, Yoniso Manasikara, we pay our attention or rational thinking to the beginning of each and every physical and mental phenomena. If you go to deeper level of it, we can find simple level of Yonisomanasikara and as well as deeper level of Yonisomanasikara. If I talk about the deepest first, you better be able to understand, rising of those elements, uh, and uh, and also seeing the impermanence, dukkha and anatta also is considered as Yonisomanasikara. So Yonisomanasikara again is directing your mind to the right beginning or the origin of everything, right? So I quickly go into Silavanta Sutta of Samyutta Nikaya. I think that is one of the suttas that everybody should read. Silavanta Sutta. That is a discussion between Venerable Sariputta and Mahakottita. Both these great disciples provided us very important Dhamma discussion, and one of them is this Silavanta Sutta. The question Venerable Kottita asked from Venerable Sariputta is, what should be done by a virtuous monk right after being virtuous? Silavanta Bhikkhu, what he or she should be doing right after the sustenance of his life on Sila. So the Venerable Sariputta said, my friend Kottita, he or she should attend in wisely. The very Pali word is Yonisomanasikara to the 5 clinging aggregate as anicca, dukkha, and roga. I would say in English, cancer and arrow, a painful and affliction, aliens and dissolution and emptiness and non-self. In 11 ways, this bhikkhu should, reflect the rupa, the clinging to rupa, so that he is going to, overcome the clinging to the rupa aggregate. The one who has completed the moral principles into a greater extent, if he or she wish to go forward in the noble training, should use Yonisomanasikara on Rupupadana in 11 ways. First one is anicca. So that particular person should, pay right or rational or wise attention on Rupa as impermanence. And it is something suffering. It is a cancer. It is a disease. It is an arrow. It is a painful thing. It is empty and so on. So that is called Yonisomanasikara. So when he or she does this, not only with the clinging to Rupa, but with clinging to feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness, he is going to destroy 3 fetters, namely Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikiccha, Silabbata Paramasa, and attain to first stage of enlightenment. So in order to attain the Sotapanna state, what we need to do is to put Yonisomanasikara into application on 5 aggregates of clinging in 11 ways. Isn't this the Samatha and Vipassana meditation together? Yes. What we have there in Samatha and Vipassana meditation, they are directing our mind to the particular point of reflection. That is called Yonisomanasikara. So in meditation, we use Yonisomanasikara. I said earlier that when we have Yonisomanasikara, 5 hindrances arise together and damage our peaceful state. But with Yonisomanasikara, 5 hindrances are clearly abandoned. Isn't this the same thing we do in the meditation? The very idea of karmasthana meditation or meditation with subject in sitting posture is to overcome kamachanda, vyapada, tinamidda, uddhacha, kuch, vicikiccha, the 5 hindrances, and using Yonisomanasikara is taking place. when you, for example, when you pay attention to the breathing, you are going to see the changes of the very breath, subtle status of breath, and you are, of course, knowing what is happening to your feelings, sensation, mental state, and so on. So that is being dual of Yonisomanasikara within that meditation. So as a result, you get piti, sukha, ekaggata, vitakka, vichara, those the first jhana with 5 qualities. So friends, with samadhi mind, yatabhuta jnana dassana is clearly done. It means with Yonisomanasikara, you are cleared samadhi. You have that reflective mind further towards the end of the training. So attainment to Sotapanna is therefore is happening when you put Yonisomanasikara rightly on clinging to 5 aggregates as in 11 ways, so that you are in Sotapanna state. So Venerable Sariputta was questioned again. Okay, now I accept the Dhamma, as you said, because you are the greatest in the wisdom. So let me know what has to be done by the one who attained to Sotapanna right after, what he or she should do. Then Venerable Sariputta's answer was that the same thing. Yonisomanasikara, that particular person who attained to Sotapanna should also use Yonisomanasikara on clinging to 5 aggregates in 11 ways. As a result, he or she attained to Sakadagami, next level of the enlightenment. And then the one who attained to the second stage of enlightenment has to do the same thing, putting Yonisomanasikara into application. Then he can secure his mind on Anagami state. And the one who attained to Anagami state also should be doing Yonisomanasikara in full form, so that he can become a full enlightened person. Even the full enlightened person use Yonisomanasikara just to stay in happy state always, but he or she doesn't have anything to do, as you know. But Yonisomanasikara is being always in his mind as a quality of his mind. So friends, one of the highly emphasized Dhamma elements in the teaching is this Yonisomanasikara, and each individual has to have it in order for them to guard their mind and develop the wholesome qualities. And for someone has secured his mind with wholesome qualities, he or she used the Yonisomanasikara to go forward further. So I didn't tell much about Yonisomanasikara with 7 factors of enlightenment. Right after having this Yonisomanasikara, you start practicing 7 factors of enlightenment too. So that is also discussed in the Dhamma in different suttas in Sattabojjhanga section. So since I say a lot, I believe you should speak because this is one of the things we clearly know through sharing our knowledge. So let me see who has already need to talk. Okay, Dr. Pial has raised his hand. So you can talk about Yonisomanasikara or anything.
No, actually, I just want to touch on something. Yonisomanasikara. So I think the correct breaking is Yoni is the birth canal or the vagina, another name. So the birth of things. So going back to the birth of things. So you're tracing everything where it all begins. In other words, say for example, right now, if I get angry, but there must be a reason for the anger, right? So we can trace back. So I heard this thing saying against me. So the ear. So like that, eventually the Yonisomanasikara eventually stops at the senses.
Yeah.
That's so Sati Sampajanya Indriya Sangvara. So with the Yonisomanasikara, that leads to Sati Sampajanya. And Sati Sampajanya feeds Indriya Sangvara. So Indriya, the six sensory based activity, is a final. We can't go beyond that. Yonisomanasikara. Yeah. So that's why it all stops. Even the aggregates are a little bit preliminary. The aggregates are the products of the senses. So at the end is so breaking down, going little by little by little. So that's why Buddha call the six senses the all, the sabba. There's nothing else you can go beyond the sabba. So the activity of the six senses, understanding how we create all this suffering to ourselves. And if we figure that out, I mean, that's suffering too is a sankhara, like we create suffering. The suffering is not always there. It's we create the suffering. So if we should be able to undo the same suffering if you apply the Yonisomanasikara at the end of the day, right? That's one thing.
Yeah, indeed. Wonderful. Yeah, the way you explain Yoniso is really important. So the Yoni means the beginning point or the womb or the starting point. As you say, the Salayatana is the ground for all these aggregates to arise, so that you pay attention, right attention, needful attention to the sensory experiences, so that you can catch what is coming in. And so yeah, that is very good. And having seen the causal conditions or the relationship is very important. As you said, when we are angry, the Buddha asks us to be mindful about anger in order for us to develop kindness, loving kindness there. So seeing the anger is really bad, and understanding loving kindness is the thing I should develop. There you should have Yonisomanasikara. Without Yonisomanasikara, it's difficult for one to get out of anger. So either before anger could arise, or with anger, you have to get this Yonisomanasikara quickly into application. Otherwise, you might do something really dangerous for your moral principles. So that so to sustain on sila, we should have Yonisomanasikara. So sustain on other important qualities, Yonisomanasikara does a great deal of activity there. Sile patitta naro sapanyo chittang panyancha bhavyang. The Buddha clearly says who started the training to undo the problem of suffering is the one who actually wisely think about everything, and he can sustain on sila. He can practice sila, aiming samadhi and panya, so that wise attention, whatever English term you use, it's fine if you understand the very function of Yonisomanasikara, so that you can make sense that you are going forward. Thank you very much for your contribution. We have heard about this Yonisomanasikara many a time in the past discussion, so that there may be many information in your head that is being shared always, so that you don't need to talk about always. However, this is the very light that we use to see the Noble Eightfold Path. That is the catchy point for me always. If the Majjhima Patipada is the path to get out of this problems, suffering, and how do we station ourselves on the Noble Eightfold Path? By having this Yonisomanasikara. Use your wisdom, use your common sense. We normally say that use your common sense. It means a sign of Yonisomanasikara. With common sense, we know what has to be done right now. to make ourselves and everybody else happy. Use your common sense in meditation so that you know why meditation is. And understanding the whole cycle of birth and death, just because the Buddha said, because we haven't had that memory yet about our past and what we are what happened to us in the future. But Buddha has clearly said it, that you are not a single unit of this universe. You have been coming from long way. So using that type of dangerous things that could happen to you in the future, make you away from unwholesome things. So that is also Yonisomanasikara. In other words, when you are in Ambalattika Rahulavad Sutta, where the Buddha talks about the importance of reflection before you do something, or before you say something, or before you think something, there the Buddha asked Venerable Rahula, his own son, to use Yonisomanasikara. Rahula, what is the use of the mirror or the water that reflect yourself? Is to see you. Similarly, keep your mind clear and clean to see who you are. And there the Buddha said, before you do something, just use your Yonisomanasikara, whether this action is leading myself and everybody else into suffering. If it is leading myself and everybody else is to happiness, that is the thing you should do. And before you say something, use Yonisomanasikara, whether this is a musavad or sampappalap or parustavacha or what is called the bad word, unnecessary word, and so on. So with Yonisomanasikara, you clearly know what you have to say, what need to say. And before you think something, very difficult, it's easy for us to say this, but practically it is difficult. But we need to practice this before you.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. It's also comes as the part of internal quality, right? In other words, Kalyana Mitra, the first two coming from outside, Kalyana Mitra and the Dhamma. Then the Yonisomanasikara, Dhammanutamapata, that's the internal. So two external and two internal. Working together. Yeah.
Very good classification, actually. If you look at the 4 Sotapanna factors, Kalyana Mitra is always living outside. And listening to Dhamma is also set of words and set of articles, Dhamma articles, maybe recording or whatever. Both these two factors are existing externally, and when you take them, when you internalize them, the very first quality we have is Yonisomanasikara. You are taking in by wise attention. So that Dhammanudhamma Patipatti is really pillared by the Yonisomanasikara. Without Yonisomanasikara, there is no Dhammanudhamma Patipatti, no life according to the Dhamma. So that we can understand how important this Yonisomanasikara is. So there are many things to say. However, we let Chandrani Nuna speak. Please take your time.
Venerable Sir,
Yes.
Yonisomanasikara as it is, as you said, it is something internal development. And this actually, when we were learning, we were taught how to protect the Sila first with Yonisomanasikara. Understanding Sila, Yonisomanasikara, then practicing the precepts Yonisomanasikara, then developing that is also Yonisomanasikara. So it has different ways of applying. So we take something like Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, we take object like today, I'm going to focus on my precepts, like protecting them with Yonisomanasikara. So whenever there's something that you get angry, you see your own mind not the other person's speech or anything, and come to a decision whether to say something or not to say. You follow the Eightfold Path in a mundane level. Actually, that happens if you really practice Yonisomanasikara. So this is something which you have to practice from the beginning until we sit down for meditation. Once we sit down, the first thing that comes with Yonisomanasikara concern, as you said, is the nivaranas. And then it goes on to development, all the 7 factors, and all that comes one after the other. So what I understand is this is something that has to be developed just like the 4 foundations of mindfulness. This has many, many aspects of development. That's all I have to mention, Venerable Sir.
And that is very good. Thank you for that. Yeah, in terms of practicing 4 foundation of mindfulness successfully, we have to have this Yonisomanasikara. For example, the teachers who know about students can give meditation subject. In monastic setting, you go to see your teacher not every day, not once a week, maybe once or 2 weeks, because you have to practice your dharma in isolated place with minimum association of those people in the monastery, and explore the possibilities of your mind towards enlightenment. When you get problems like attacks from ignorance, hindrances, and all these forces of unwholesomeness, you use Yonisomanasikara on your own. Where you fail, then you go to your teacher and get information. So what I wanted to tell you is that when one enters into Satipatthana practice, they should develop type of Yonisomanasikara to a greater extent. There you get very easy path, very easy flow on the 4 foundation of mindfulness. It doesn't mean that you are you have everything about it, but you have some Yonisomanasikara to go forward. So we see this from monastic training that you can live like a normal average person with Pindapata, with other activities of the monastic order. But in order to improve yourself from the Dharma, this has to be developed as an internal quality to be able to use it for practicing the 4 foundation of mindfulness. 4 foundation of mindfulness practice means you have entered into the Noble Eightfold Path as it is, and cultivation of factors of enlightenment are being already started there. So Yonisomanasikara is the shield to protect you from unwholesomeness, because mindfulness is a very wide quality that reminds you different unwholesomeness and wholesomeness. And when one mindfulness is pointing out this is coming, that is coming, this is it, that is it, the decision should be taken by something else, and it is Yonisomanasikara, because the seed of Samma Ditti is called Yonisomanasikara. And Sati Sampajanya means clear comprehension. It is a mixture of both Sati as well as advanced level of wisdom, and it is also living vicinity of Yonisomanasikara. According to the order of wholesome Dhamma, we find Yonisomanasikara, then Sati Sampajanya. Sometimes Sati Sampajanya helps Yonisomanasikara, and so on. However, Yonisomanasikara is highly emphasized quality for anyone to begin the meditation and also, go forward with it in order to get out of the scope of hindrances. The the very first layer of unwholesomeness that we work with is hindrances, and it could um, be done with the participation of Yonisomanasikara. Without Yonisomanasikara, you cannot practice sati. You cannot practice any other quality. That's why the Buddha emphasized to have Yoniso Manasikara. And again, Yoniso Manasikara is a conditional state, and it comes to us with Saddharma Shravana and Kalyanamitta association, a bit of Shraddha to listen to more and more, and trust on your abilities, and so on. So Yoniso Manasikara is a very nice, very clear discovery of the Buddha with the noble, with the Majjhima Patipada, so that everyone has to have it. So it's again seeing the karma, seeing the Paticcasamuppada. If you are in a position to understand Paticcasamuppada, it means you have putting this quality into application. How this ignorance come into being? It's come into being because of this and that. We can say many things. Ignorance is a result of five hindrances. Ignorance is a result of upadana. Ignorance come into effect because of tanha. Ignorance is because of not putting your faith on the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So ignorance come into effect in many ways, and you see how ignorance is not going to be. Ignorance is not developing in us when we have these practices. When we practice these particular training, these particular daily activities, we get out of ignorance. So thinking in such a way is Yonisomanasikara.
Whenever, sir, isn't it that in some places Buddha explained that this Dhamma is janato passato, and in some places he says some people go from darkness to darkness, so they cannot be trained. Some people go from light to darkness, cannot be trained, and then some people come from darkness to light and light to light. So here also, doesn't it mention that actually this Dhamma itself is for not for all? That is why Janato, Passato and all these terms are used. Isn't it because that this is very important to practice Yonisomanasikara? Is it, whenever, sir?
Yeah, indeed. So without Yonisomanasikara in people, even the Buddha could not make them sense of the right thing and wrong thing. That's why I told you at the very beginning that many people listen to the Buddha just because everybody in the village, everybody in the city listen to the Buddha, but some could not even get an idea of what it is, just because they didn't have Yonisomanasikara started. The doing good kusala, doing punya karma, and doing wholesome activities help some people to have Yonisomanasikara as a mental quality, maybe in next life, maybe in couple of lifetime in the future. So that's why the tradition teaches us to do punya karma, do good, just to get this important quality in mind. If you look at Chulakama Vibhanga Sutta, where Subha questions the Buddha of various things, and one of the questions he asks, why some people are wise while some people are ignorant by birth. Because we see some people can understand things better even though they did not listen to wholesome Dhamma like the Buddha's teaching, because they have they had done something good in previous lives. Then the Buddha said that very important thing. They are genius people. Some people are very genius, some people are intelligent just because they listen to elderly people who said something good, wise people, intelligent people who taught good things. These people listened to them and acted accordingly in previous lives. As a result, they are reborn as wise individuals. And those who disregarded those good advices from wise individuals, intelligent people, parents, elders, even though they got human births, they are not with that skill, the knowledge and type of wisdom. So we can think of the importance of having Yonisomanasikara is also coming from good things you do either in this life or previous life. So Yonisomanasikara has a link to such meritorious deed as well. So as you said, yes, people who are in darkness, this darkness we talk about in Dhamma is not this, darkness we have right now here in this part of the world. This darkness is a life with ignorance. They are with all kinds of unwholesome things by words, actions, and thinking. So they are in darkness, and what they do is leading them to darkness again. So that means they have no iota of Yonisomanasikara at all in their life, in their mind. So they are going from this life to next life, and all the time they appear in unhappy places. So some people reborn with light, which means they have merits. However, what they do is lead into darkness in the next life or in the same life, because they disregard right thinking, right attitudes. Yonisomanasikara is not being practiced by them, so that despite their positions, good positions they live, they are going to have dark experiences in the future life because of lack of Yonisomanasikara. And some people come to this world with no merits. It means they are humans, but no lack of luxurious life, no any material benefits, nothing happened to their life, even though they try. However, with the support of Kalyana Mitra, with the support of other important things in the Dhamma, they could eliminate their mind into Dharma, into light. And the people who are going from life to light means they started the new chapter in the samsara with merits and Kalyana Mitra qualities, good things. They of course feel what has to be done, and they are doing it all the time, so that end of their, no, I'm not mean end, but what they experience in the life would be also very wholesome. So everything depends on Yonisomanasikara, right? So uh, so that we need to understand that Yonisomanasikara is really important for us in each stages of our Dhamma training. With regard to Paticca Samuppada, the formula we take Avijja Paccaya Sankara, Sankara Paccaya Vijnana, and so on. This is the way the Buddha tells us how suffering arises. With ignorance, we create Sankara, so that whole mental and physical behavior is going to be lustful, greedy, so that you are going to experience suffering. In short, this is what we can say. Rising of suffering is shown clearly in the 12-link formula. And if we have Yonisomanasikara, of course, we can see it from our experience. We are people who have done a lot of ignorant things in this life. No matter whether we are bhikkhus or lay people, we have done some ignorant things in life, so that we know what kind of results we have with ignorant activities. When we were lustful, greedy, what we get is nothing but burning issues and a lot of problems. So we know exactly what happened to us when we have one of those unwholesome qualities in the noble form, in the formula of Paticcasamuppada, so that we use Yonisomanasikara to end suffering gradually. So that what we need to do is apply wisdom instead of ignorance. So that sankara, of course, we create, but they are kusala sankara, punyabhi sankara, good sankara, wholesome sankara. As a result, the less craving, less attachment is there. So that depending on the effort we take, we have good results. We listen to this Sutta discussion. We participate in sharing Dhamma in this Sutta discussion just because we know that this kind of periodical Dhamma sharing is important for us to boost ourselves on the noble training. So this is called application of Yonisomanasikara. As Dr. Pial and both Chandra and Nona said, apply Yonisomanasikara when senses are working. It means all the time. Isn't this showing that practicing Noble Eightfold Path in the name of meditation could be done in each second of life? Yes, we can do it. Suppose you go on shopping and you're okay, physically and mentally, you're very fit, and you see an elderly person who is going through, those, shopping, and you help with compassionate mind, and you see a kind of act of theft, something like that. So you take measures to stop it just because you see this person is going to accumulate demerits, and also something bad happened to the shopping center. So I mean, this example is taken just to show how you could practice Yonisomanasikara in social level. And how about if you see any bad things happen to you, anybody else, and you take measures. And suppose you go out to the garden and you see a beautiful flower, and you see that this flower is a symbol of beauty of the nature, but this could fade away in a couple of days. Isn't this the Buddha? Isn't this the Buddha's teaching show us that everything is impermanent? So seeing beautiful object that could arise sensual pleasures for somebody, you turn it to right Dhamma with Yonisomanasikara. Suppose you see a dead animal during your walk to the park, and you might, the one who does not have Yonisomanasikara could complain the city, what kind of city is this? They could come and take this dead body of the animal. It's so bad, smelly everywhere. Nobody can walk here, and so on. But the wise individual always might say, okay, this is what happened to each and everyone. This animal might be a very strong one when it was living. Right now, no sense of any living here. It's a dead body, and this could happen to me as well. This is, you could practice mindfulness on death if you have Yonisomanasikara there, instead of blaming somebody, instead of creating anger. I saw this. I saw something at the Heathrow airport when I returned from Sri Lanka, and it was a very hectic day that many flight cancellation happened, and a lot of people accused of Air Canada and other airlines and people, staff of the different airlines and so on. I was one of the victims of all kinds of things, but I was thinking that they are also people, and they put their maximum to make things possible. And it's easier for me to sit in an airplane where and uh, get those treatment from the air hostess and sleep and come. But how trivial the duties of an aircraft engineer and all these air hostess and the pilot, because on their shoulder the life of many people, and how many things they have to check before the the flight. So we do not see those things behind the scene, but there are many things they do. So that by thinking those things of the problem, I was thinking myself that we should understand this, and there were many chances for me to get angry and blame, but I practice Yonisomanasikara there. As a result, I was not worrying about delaying. Perhaps these people have their children at home and they are expecting so many things are there for them to consider. But getting angry without proper thinking is nothing, is useless. So friends, in such a way, we can practice Yonisomanasikara to keep those opportunities or unwholesome thing to rise away from us. And we can use Yonisomanasikara to bring wisdom and other important qualities of the Noble Eightfold Path to application, where many people fail. Right? Yonisomanasikara is the engine for all kinds of wholesome qualities. Right? So please have Yonisomanasikara to have Yonisomanasikara in application.
Bhante, the engine to start, I mean, you may have, I guess, you can have a Kalyana Mitra, like a friend who is talking Dhamma and you listen to Dhamma. But again, not everyone is triggered Yonisomanasikara. So there should be a catalyst for that, the immediate cause, that is Saddha. Without Saddha, I don't think the Yonisomanasikara is going to arise in somebody's mind. Although maybe you're listening somewhere, you're Kalyana Mitra, you're talking about Dhamma all the time. I mean, you don't care. I mean, you don't have any faith on what is. So there is no Yonisomanasikara. Without Saddha is like a very important base for it. I guess you may have mentioned that, but I just thought want to.
You're right, Doctor. You put the right thing into the discussion. There were many philosophers right after the Buddha in Greece, in everywhere in the world, and in French Revolution, from France and other countries. There were many philosophers. They were questioning well about mind and body into a greater extent, but they did not have Shraddha, in my understanding, for them to get enlightened. Otherwise, the level they questions about mind and body, especially those people, from Greece, they are very intelligent, but they did not have Shraddha about such wholesome people, and also they did not have Shraddha on what has to be done to alleviate suffering. So, as I remember, it's Descartes, or I cannot remember his name. He said, he talks about the existence. He said, the person called I is because thinking is there. So this kind of analysis about existence of human as well as other living beings is reaching to the level of analysis the Buddha did. But they did not believe, they did not have Shraddha on something we talk about in Buddhism. So you put the right thing here in the discussion, that Shraddha is really, really required for Yonisomanasikara. Otherwise, it is a kind of analysis or investigation, but that investigation doesn't allow the man to destroy greed, hatred, and ignorance. The very Yonisomanasikara we talk about has such results. Whatever we use in the name of rational thinking, proper thinking, appropriate thinking, should lead us to, damage the wall of unwholesomeness. Otherwise, it is not the Yonisomanasikara that the Buddha talks about. Thank you very much for that idea too. So, friends, you can reach to the suttas on Yonisomanasikara on your own by typing the word Yonisomanasikara in Google. So you can find many good articles, many good suttas. So time to time, read them. Don't just keep this idea in mind in your own. Time to time, read what others says about Manasikara, how to apply Yonisomanasikara, and what could we bring with Yonisomanasikara application in time to time. So this kind of investigation is taking you to the maximum or the peak of understanding on Yonisomanasikara. And we know that when Yonisomanasikara in full form is there is this destruction of craving could happen. So friends, I think it's close to 9:30 now. You may have other things to do. As I said, we should have Yonisomanasikara always to start something and to end something. And so that I apply Yonisomanasikara here in this Sutta discussion. So to end the Sutta study class, and I will come to you with another important discourse or discourses with some beautiful Dhamma next week. Until then, may you apply Yonisomanasikara in your speech, in your action, in your thinking, and do everything nice and wholesome so that you see the absence of hindrances in your mind. You see the presence of piti pamujja sukha happiness in your mind, and that would be the encouragement. You get to go on the noble Dhamma and discipline until you see the end of the until you see the light end of the tunnel, which means nirvana. With that blessings in mind, we are going to end today's sutta discussion. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bante.